Sheriff's Office.
Hi, ma'am. This is Scott Sunford. I was robbed last weekend. I live at 320 North St. Hilaire. Anyways, after the robbery, I had an ADT alarm system installed, and they put it on a 1-week trial period where if anything went off, nobody would respond. And today at 324, 327, and 328, I had 3 sensors tripped, and I've been out of town with family for a funeral. My wife was home, and I
Okay, did somebody break into the residence?
I don't know. I've been out of town. I'm just on my way back, and I haven't been able to get a hold of the wife, so I was just hoping somebody can come meet me out there. It's probably nothing, but I would feel better.
When Scott reached his home, he made another call to the police.
I just got home, and the board that I have over my back door has been broken, so somebody has forced their way in again, and I still haven't heard back from my wife. I need an officer here now.
All right, we'll get someone out there.
I'm not going to go in or touch anything, but I'm here. I'm in the car, and I got a spotlight on the door.
Scott's wife was still inside the house and might have been in danger, but still, he chose to wait outside until the police arrived. Did he know something, or was he just too scared? When the police reached the location, they found Scott Sunford outside with his gun pointed at the house. The officers then spotted the broken back door, and they cautiously stepped into the house. They moved through the dark rooms, and when they reached the master bedroom, they turned on the light switch only to be shocked with a ghastly scene. 30-year-old Desiree Sunford was dead. She was naked and had been shot about 9 times, including a fatal gunshot wound to her head. Who could have been behind the horrific act? Was it just a robbery gone wrong, or instead a planned murder? A murder that Scott knew something about? The case was complex and without any promising suspects. The department scoured through the area and the crime scene to gather any information available. To the left side of the lifeless body were some shell casings, a total of 9. They also found a boot print right outside the back door. Moreover, the police speculated that the first few shots hadn't killed Desiree. The position of her body and the areas where she was hit displayed that she might have tried to escape the perpetrator before succumbing to the final gunshot to her head.
Desiree have any enemies that you knew of?
No, not at all.
When the police talked to her husband, Scott, he did not seem to express much sorrow, which was quite shocking for everyone. However, Desiree's mother, Connie Cast, was devastated.
My whole world just came to a sudden stop. And life as I knew it would never be the same again. She was a friend to everyone, so it boggled my mind to think of that, who could have possibly had that much aggression against her to kill her.
Furthermore, Connie had her doubts from the very beginning. And by doubts, we mean she held suspicions towards Scott. And the reason? It was simple. Scott knew that Desiree might have been in trouble, but he still waited outside instead of barging in to check on Desiree. Scott was 6 foot 5 inches tall, was a military veteran with a gun in his hand. However, he was too scared to enter his own house to check on his wife's well-being. It doesn't fit, does it? So it was time the police brought in Scott for a formal interrogation, and what they learned was shocking. In any normal interrogation, it's the detective who asks the questions. However, Scott, it seems, is just a little too prepared.
You got here literally a few minutes ago, so can you just kind of start from the beginning and tell me what happened?
Well, quite honestly, you just
your understanding
of something else. There was a shooting.
Right.
Okay. What can you tell me?
All I know is that we were called out to your house and that there was a body found.
Well, it is shocking to see how the interview has begun, but soon Scott starts providing the detective with his alibi for the murder. He claims that he was in the Tri-Cities for his aunt's funeral, and that's when he received the security alarm notifications. However, the thing that is off about this statement is that the funeral, the timing of the alarm notifications, and his call to the police were all far apart from each other. But that's not all. there's something else that will pique the detective's interest.
No, I actually stayed with a friend, but let's see.
What's the friend's name?
Oh, her name's Paige. She's a mutual friend.
But this so-called friend was actually someone much more.
Was it just a platonic friendship, or did you have a sexual relationship with Paige?
You know, I shouldn't go there because it's kind of rude, but well, Des didn't want me to say anything to anybody, but she kind of had mixed feelings, and if I'll do anything, but that's one thing I can't provide for her. So at one point, her and Paige had a little thing going for a while there, a little experiment.
Okay, so it was Desiree and Paige who had this relationship.
Yeah.
But not you and Paige, or
we all did.
Sometimes you and Paige too.
Honestly, we all did.
Okay.
But let's hear what Paige has to say about their relationship.
He came and spent the night at my place.
Scott says he slept on the couch. Is that true?
No, it's not. If he was in my house, he was in my bed.
Basically, Desiree, Scott, and this woman named Paige Blades were all in a three-way open relationship. This very thing led the investigators down a whole new path. Now they had the suspicion that maybe Scott and Paige had teamed up to eliminate Desiree. And even though this news had not reached Connie's ears, her motherly instincts were on fire.
What'd you make of Scott?
I never really warmed up to him totally.
Did you guys butt heads?
Occasionally he would say or do something that concerned, I think, about his fidelity, but there was never anything that we could prove or substantiate that he was being unfaithful.
Is Scott lying to the detectives? Had he been cheating on Desiree, and now that she was dead, was he conveniently making her a part of this scenario to make himself look less suspicious? These were the questions, but at the time, the answers were just speculation, and after Scott's interrogation, they found no such evidence to convict him. Instead, they tried to look for more concrete proof to strengthen the case. But it was all in vain, and the trail went cold for a year or so. However, in August 2014, more than a year after the murder, the police got an anonymous tip. A woman told the detectives that she knew who the killer was. It was astonishing. However, what made it even more shocking was that the tip came from none other than Paige Blades. So on August 30th, 2014, the police set up a meeting with Paige.
Okay, so obviously the big reason that I wanted to talk to you face to face was that we got the Crime Stoppers tip from you with some new information about the shooting.
Yep.
Did a little research based on the information that you sent us, and found a picture of Marty Grismer. Is that the gentleman that we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Marty Grismer is Paige's close friend, but that's not all. There's a much deeper story, and Paige is about to unveil it completely.
He asked me if I wanted him to take care of this new woman like he did Des. And I asked him what he was talking about. The first time he came to see me, I was pregnant. We had just found out about 3 weeks before the shooting that I was pregnant. Marty was one of the first people that I told. And apparently, he decided that if the baby was Scott's like it was supposed to be, then Desiree would cause issues. Oh my God.
So you told Marty that Scott was the father of the baby?
Oh, Marty knew that Scott and I were together, and Scott was the only one that I was seeing. And he's smart enough to put it together.
Well, it's becoming quite obvious why Marty might have killed Desiree. But how did he enter the house, shoot her 9 times, and escape the place, leaving just a boot print behind?
Scott had given him a tour of the house a couple months before, and he knew that I had a key there. He knew that there was a key outside.
Do you know how he knew that?
Because he knew our routine. He knew it was just stuff that we talked about.
Scott and Marty knew each other through Paige. However, there was also another connection between them. Scott had a neighbor named Lori who was old and lived alone. So from time to time, Scott would pay visits to check on her, and Marty too would help her financially at times. So these two became more associated over time. As the relationship is clear now, let's unveil what happened that day.
I never told him where the key was hidden. He said it took him probably 15 minutes to find it. He got the key. He went in the front door because he knew that that was the closest to the bedroom. The alarm went off and he opened the door. And Ada came out barking. Des came out right behind her and he shot her. He shot her 3 times. She went down. He shot her some more. I don't remember how many bullets he said. It was a full clip. He let her get, 10 or 15 feet away. And he got closer to her as she was trying to crawl away. He wanted to make sure that she had an open casket funeral. He went to the back of the house and moved the board off the window that Scott had put up after the robbery. Oh, that's not awkward at all.
Is that him trying to call you?
That was Scott trying to call me. His dad's here with me.
At this time, Scott has no idea what's going on and that Marty is now the assumed killer. But let's just focus on the story for now.
So he goes to the back. I think that he said that he exited the back door, walked out, walked back in to make it look like he had come through the back door. Because it was raining that night. And he wanted to leave shoe prints. He put the key back in its hiding spot. He went back inside again, grabbed a jewelry box off of her dresser, and he left.
Did he describe the jewelry box?
I think he said it was the little one.
But Marty has a different statement regarding all of this.
I haven't done anything wrong on her, and but she's trying to engineer, set me up to do something. I was saying to you that killed someone. How did that?
However, it's becoming more clear by now how the incident had happened. Paige explains it as clearly as possible, and shocking as it is, she claims to know all this because according to her, Marty himself told her about all this. It's like he wanted her to know what he did. But when this accusation finally reaches Marty, he starts denying everything. Paige said that he wanted to kill Desiree so that she wouldn't create issues with Paige's pregnancy. But why take it to such an extreme?
Conversation with him? Do you think he would talk to you about it more?
I'm sure he would. He worships the ground I walk on. He's obsessed with me.
Is that something that you would consider?
That's all I could think about the last 2 days.
Such obsession lies in the psychopathic borderline. Moreover, given Paige's confidence in her accusations, there must be other instances proving Marty has always behaved this way, right?
And had Marty made any comments that would make you think that he was going to do something like that?
No, I know that he always talked about it. He always told me that if I ever had a problem, he would take care of it. And I always told him it was.
Had he offered to kill her before?
He's offered to kill her. He's offered to kill Dylan, Scott. It doesn't. If I have a bad day with a coworker, he always tells me there's always Plan B. And
so he's
Plan B.
just up for killing anybody?
Pretty much. Yeah.
So it's kind of well established from Paige's statements that Marty seems to be someone whom one might call crazy. But Marty has some contrasting statements.
I thought Paige had done it. That's all I thought. Well, I thought that Scott had done it, but I don't know.
I'm not interested in your speculation. I'm interested in what Paige told you. Paige told you more than you're saying. And I can see that written all over your face. You just won't come out with it. And now I gotta believe it's because we've already established that you're more concerned about your son than Paige. Paige is basically trying to bend you over this table. And so the concern for her is out the window. So you must be trying to protect yourself. That's all I can figure.
I didn't have anything. I didn't go kill anyone. I didn't go shoot anyone.
Going back to Paige, she has all sorts of information against Marty. She tells the police that his phone was kept off during the murder, and it went back on when he reached his home. She even explains in detail about Marty's guns and where he would practice shooting.
Did he mention specifically target practicing with the gun that he used? Did he talk about practicing first, or?
No.
What was it?
No. All he said was that all of that ammo, except for the one single clip, had been spent about 2 years before.
Oh, okay. So he didn't necessarily say he shot it there. He just said he shot up a whole bunch of ammo and had one.
He uses the backyard. That's where all of his ammo is expended. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what he said was they can try and dig down to find the ammo if they want, but I don't see him wasting time.
It seems like Marty was too arrogant, and he never thought that Paige would rat him out. But there's another concern. What if Paige is lying? And what if Marty is the one telling the truth?
I was going to try and talk to him more on Friday in court.
Is there any chance that when we pick him up, is there any chance that he's going to say that, yeah, I did this for Paige and she knew about it, she told me to do it?
I think that's always a chance, but I couldn't see him trying to do that. He's always been a very honest person, as far as I know.
And if he did say that, it'd be a total lie. You didn't.
Wow. Yeah.
The question's got to be asked.
Yeah.
Because it will be asked, as we go forward.
The detectives then ask her if she's ready to wear a wire and get a confession from Marty, which she accepts, but it doesn't go the way they plan it.
You said that there was no evidence, so I'm just wondering for sure if there's nothing left.
Daughter's out. I don't have any. You haven't done anything.
However, the key statement in Paige's interrogation is that Marty seemed kind of psychotic and he would kill anyone who came in Paige's way. He was insanely obsessed, but we might just have the reason for it.
When you met Scott, did you know he was married to Desiree?
I knew that he was married, but I had been told that he was separated.
At what point did you and Scott start to get intimate?
Actually, it was the day that I found out that he was still actively married.
And you're, the mistress?
I didn't see myself being a mistress long term. I also wasn't entirely sure that I wanted to date him, but sex was cool.
Paige was in her own world, and Marty was there to see it all. But Marty, who couldn't have Paige only for himself, was ready to go to any lengths for her. He even wanted to get rid of Scott, and the reason was this.
And that's what we've been fighting.
And Scott was what now?
Scott was lying about a lot of stuff.
For instance?
The status of the house. Insurance, death certificates.
What was he saying?
We had been trying to figure out if we were going to keep the house, rent it out, sell it off, let the bank take it. I had just found a company to come in and clean up the crime scene. It's still sitting. It hasn't been touched. Said that there was insurance and he couldn't get it without the death certificate. Couldn't get the death certificate until his name had been cleared legally. He was having trouble finding work. He figured because of the background check, because of his involvement with the case, he was just frustrated with everything.
So you're sharing that with Marty?
I think a few times I've mentioned it throughout the year, because Marty was always very condescending about Scott, about how he needed to, man up and go get a job, and he needed to go.
So why?
Responsibilities.
What was the conversation that really probably drew Marty's comments out, saying, "I can take care of this next one"? I mean,
I barely told Marty that night that Scott was living with somebody else.
That's the first time he heard about it?
And I told him that I thought that we were going to be breaking up and that I was tired of the situation. He asked me if I wanted to take her.
Did you relay to him your feelings to Scott yet? What were your feelings towards Scott?
He's betrayed my trust. And he knows it. We talked a lot last week.
So why, instead of taking care of this next gal, why not take care of Scott?
He's offered that too. I've always told him no. I've always told him no about everybody.
Did he? I mean, he offers, okay, I'll take care of this other gal and you can have your life with Scott. Is that anything like that or what?
I think that's what he's trying for.
Even though you were done with Scott, because Scott sleeps around.
And it's not because he sleeps around. That's not the problem. The problem is that he's a liar.
The problem is what?
That he's a liar.
Both Paige and Marty's statements appear very contradictory, but the police needed a clear idea of the crime. Even though Marty's now the prime suspect in the case, the detectives still cannot just let their suspicions towards Scott and Paige go.
Could Scott have worked any kind of a deal with Marty to take care of Desiree?
I really don't think so.
Did they know each other very well before this?
No, they had only known each other for probably 4 months.
Before this? Before the...
But Marty keeps denying all these statements. He seems insistent on playing innocent throughout. However, the confusion in the air was cleared up when the detectives found a great deal of evidence that pointed towards Marty.
He had a gun barrel in his drawer at work. That gun barrel was found after forensics examination to have been used in the homicide.
Moreover, the boot print that the police found at the crime scene matched the size and brand of shoes that Marty used to wear.
Detectives were very confident that they had the right guy.
With all this direct evidence, the police charged Marty with murder. On January 8th, 2018, Marty faced the law. He continued denying everything, but finally he was cornered with the sheer amount of evidence against him. He finally entered an Alford plea where he denied being involved in the murder but accepted that there was enough evidence to convict him. Marty was then sentenced to 15 years in prison. The case should have been over, right? However, it was just after this sentencing that the police uncovered some new details which brought back the air of confusion.
Scott's mistress was pregnant with some other guy's child.
But said that it was Scott's.
Said it was Scott's.
This came in as a shock for everyone. Why had Paige lied about the identity of the child?
I can believe that he did the deed by himself, but how did he know that Desiree was going to be alone that night?
It's a good question.
Scott and his mistress gave Marty the information that she was going to be alone.
Moreover, some text messages between Paige and Desiree were uncovered in which Desiree expressed her discomfort to Paige. Let's show you how Paige reacted when she was confronted in an interview with Crime Watch Daily.
Your guys' comfort level with each other is much higher than I'm okay with. This is you writing to her. I'm sure I could have sex with him. I just don't think about it because he's married. So cut the crap with me now. You are not in an open relationship with Scott and Desiree.
Well, it does seem like Desiree wasn't completely okay with the open three-way relationship. It can't be said for sure, but we feel like there have been a lot of things which were left unexplored. The police did try to bring Scott and Paige into the case, but unfortunately, there was no evidence to support their theories regarding them. The murderer might have been convicted, but many questions still lingered. It seemed like everything in the case was just speculation and blind trust. There is no telling who was speaking the truth and who lied. And sadly, it still doesn't look possible to uncover these details.
If you weren't sleeping with Desiree's husband, would she still be alive today?
I don't know.
Has she really been honest? Let's watch another clip.
While we're on the subject of your honesty, you said Marty was obsessed with you, but you never had any type of sexual relationship with Marty.
Right.
What about the new photo exchanges between you two?
Yeah, there were definitely photo exchanges.
Between you two?
Yes.
Did you wonder why Marty may have been obsessed if you're sending him photos?
But that's not having sex.
That's a relationship if you're sending you photos. You know, here's my private parts, but it's not sexual.
Yeah, but I send them to a lot of people.
Here's a shot.
Most of the photos that Marty got, Scott also got. So did Scott's dad.
You were close with Scott Sr. as well?
Yeah.
Did you and Scott Sr. fool around?
Yeah. Yeah, we fooled around. But we never had sex.
Well, we might all just understand what was actually going on. As sad as it is, we don't feel that Desiree ever got the full justice she deserved. Now, what do you think? Was Grismer the only one involved in the murder, or was it actually Scott and Paige's idea? Feel free to let us know your opinion. We'd love to hear from you.
You had sex with her. No, I didn't. I would not have sex with a dead person.
People do it.
Oh, I'm not one of those people.
Now, what is your definition of play? Is that actually your piece into her?
Yeah.
Okay. How about would you consider penetration with your finger? I mean, you consider that? No? Okay, so and there was none of that. There was no binding of a breath. Okay, I'm just asking that. Well, that condom, it wouldn't have been put on your finger. I'm just throwing this hypothetically out there and inserted into her.
No. I don't guys think I did this on purpose or anything.
On September 20th, 2021, 64-year-old Melody Dawn Rohr went on a walk and never came back. The next day, on 21st of September, her husband, Richard Rohr, called 911 to report his wife missing.
Van Buren 911, what is the address of your emergency? This is Cass County with the transfer. I have a gentleman on the line at Oak Shores Campground. His wife did not return from a walk this morning. Okay. All right, sir. You said your wife went for a walk. At what time?
Around 8:15, 8:30. She goes every morning for 6 to 8 miles.
What is your wife's name?
Melody.
Her middle name?
It goes straight. Dawn.
Dawn.
Yes.
And what's her date of birth?
8/22/57.
Okay, is she white, black, Hispanic, or Asian?
White.
Okay. It has not returned back. What was she last seen wearing?
A yellow raincoat and shorts. I'm not sure on the color of the shirt.
What color is her hair?
Brown.
After she was reported missing, everyone started to search for her frantically, but to no avail. Where could she have gone? What happened to her? But her whereabouts were revealed the next day. With no other way left, police started tracing Melody's phone, which led them to a nearby Walmart. When the Van Buren police reached the location, they were visibly shocked to see what was waiting for them there. Sitting in a damaged Ford F-150 was a 29-year-old man named Colby Martin. He had Melody's SIM in his phone, but was this a good enough reason to drag a man out of his car? Or were there other pieces of evidence that the police acquired which led to Colby's immediate arrest? As you watch along, you'll see various pieces of the puzzle make the whole picture, and what is revealed will become one of the most disgusting, maniacal men you will ever see in an interrogation room.
Colby, you and I didn't talk about this, so I want to bring it up to you now. What brought, you probably have an idea why we've made contact with you today. Just a little bit of history about that, since I haven't told you anything yet, but I think it's fair for you to know that yesterday we got called down around the Decatur area. Do you know where that's at?
I know the name, but I don't know.
Okay. Do you frequent Van Buren County much, or what?
No, you just do your thing, then I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
So it's just...
Okay. Why don't you just tell me the story then? Just tell me. Okay. Let's see what's some time.
Well, I was at work, but then my mom was sick, so they were like, because we're medical, so they were like, oh, maybe you shouldn't be here.
Did you might have COVID or something? Or?
Well, her cousin had COVID, so she was around her, so they just were being cautious. So I didn't want to go home, so I was just driving around, and I got lost. So I was just, driving. And then it was foggy out on that morning. And it came out of nowhere.
What came out of nowhere?
The lady.
Okay.
And I tried to miss her, but I couldn't. And I just got scared. Didn't know what to do. I should have called you guys.
So what happened after you hit her?
I don't know either.
What's that? Okay.
I just got scared and left.
Did you leave her there?
I put her in the back.
In the back of the truck? Do you know if she was... No, listen.
I'm not a bad person.
I don't think Kyle and I neither one of us said that.
The situation just looks like I'm a fucking psycho.
Look at the face Colby makes when he's asked to recall the murder. That is not the expression of recalling. It's the expression of reliving the murder and the horrible things Colby did to the dead body of Melody. Detectives try to laugh along with Colby as they've seen his sadistic side now, and they think that laughing might just be the key to getting a confession. But will they be able to keep up with this tactic once they start asking about the more gruesome details of his crimes?
No. We neither one of us has said that, have we?
Not at
all. No.
I'm never going to say that, but...
Listen, I bet you'd be surprised how many people would tell you that. And we're not going to say that. Do you think she was still alive after you hit her? She wasn't. Okay. So from that point, where did you go?
I just went back down to where we were at. Well, I just...
Did you drive right to there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why, I just...
Are you familiar with that area?
Down there a little bit.
Okay.
I'm just scared. I don't know why.
Did do you have any idea what she was wearing?
No.
Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, it did some significant damage to your truck, right? Is that all from just striking her, or did you hit something else?
No, I hit a deer the other day.
Oh, you did hit a deer?
So it's all like...
Oh, okay. You know how long ago that was that you hit the deer?
Sunday, maybe. Saturday or Sunday.
Okay. Did you report it at all or not?
No.
Okay. Do you know where it happened at? Just a rough idea?
It was like around Texas Corners.
Okay.
With the...
So Saturday or Sunday over around Texas Corners. Okay. Alright. You don't know what road it was on though?
No, I don't even know the names of those.
So let's go back to...
I don't know if the deer died or not.
Okay. That's okay.
From here on, we'll show you all the crucial evidence that cracked this case wide open. The first big clue was the completely destroyed bumper of Colby's Ford F-150. This was the evidence that was probably first noticed as soon as the detectives found Colby where Melody was expected to be. His explanation? That he had hit a deer a few days before he hit Melody. And this would have been a perfectly plausible explanation, but detectives found no forensic evidence that matched his story. But here, they play along with Colby in the hopes that he will keep talking. But is this necessary? When he's already confessing to having hit Melody accidentally, it's expected that he would damage his car. But it seems that out of nervousness, he tries to make up a story which can and will be used against him in court.
Once you hit her, do you lose control or anything like that? Okay. Did you come to a stop? I'm assuming you come to a stop because you said you put her in there. Did you check her for signs of life?
I tapped her and I asked her if she was okay, and so she didn't say anything.
Okay.
Just like freaking out.
Yeah. So when you got her in the back of the pickup truck, did you cover her with anything once you put her in the back of the pickup truck?
I had like a towel, a blanket.
Okay. Did you put that over the top of her?
Yeah.
It didn't blow off when you're driving down the road?
When I got down there, it did.
Did it blow out of the pickup truck?
I don't know where it went though.
Okay. So somewhere alongside the roadway is the blanket? Probably. You know what color blanket it is by chance?
It was like green.
Green blanket. Was it a heavy blanket or a light blanket?
Like what you put it like on the couch.
Okay.
You know,
Like a throw maybe? Or?
Kinda like that.
Okay. So you covered her, was that blanket at one time inside the truck and you took it out, put it over the back?
Yeah, it was just like an extra. Just sitting there.
All right.
Stupid though.
Listen, you were the only one that can tell us what happened out there.
I know, but I just sound dumb. Like,
Tell me why, what sounds dumb.
I should have just fucking called you guys and stopped being so scared.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And then I believe that's why you wanted to tell us what happened. Is that right?
I'm not a bad person. I don't
That's
want
why
to do
you're doing
this.
the right thing now.
Yeah, you are.
You're getting the story out.
Yeah. You want people to know your side of the story, what happened out there. That this wasn't, you tracked this lady down, you stalked her, right? You know? And by you telling Kyle and I what happened out there, we've got the story of what happened. Because otherwise we wouldn't know. You know?
I just put my hand really bad.
I believe you. Yeah. I'm sure you did not do this on purpose. And you didn't know this lady, right?
I did just lie.
Yeah. So you're driving. Or do you know where you're going to go with her, or
no? I was just scared.
Okay. So once you can, somewhere between where you hit her and where you placed her, the blanket fell out or blew out of the truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine accidentally hitting a passerby with your car. You may call for help, or you may run in fear of the consequences you could face. It's our natural fight or flight response. But in what world, in what twisted mindset would you pick the victim up and load them into your truck? What could possibly be the intention behind this? The answer to this disturbing question will reveal Colby's motive for the crime. So far, he's not been able to convince anyone that it was merely an accident. Another observation you can make here is that Colby looks up when he talks about putting Melody in his truck. But do you think he's truly guilty, or is this his rehearsed attempt at looking guilty? Him looking up could also possibly be an attempt to find a camera in the interrogation room, as he knows he's being watched.
So once you put her in there, did her clothes or anything fall off of her? And I'm just asking you, just to the best of your knowledge, I mean, because, you know, Kyle and I didn't go up there where you pointed her out to us.
I don't know. I didn't really, you know what I mean? Like, I was just in shock.
You didn't take them off of her, though, right?
No.
Okay. All right, just have to ask. Yeah. All right. And then, tell me about her cell phone.
I didn't see a cell phone.
How did her SIM card get put into your cell phone?
My SIM card?
Her SIM card put into your cell phone.
How?
I don't know. That's what we're asking you. That's how we're able to locate who you were. Remember, I didn't tell you anything about this. I'm bringing it up to you now. Yeah, that's how we were able to develop you as a person of interest, is because your two phones were moving together and mirroring off each other, and then the information was that her SIM card was put in your phone, but that's not the case?
I didn't take it out.
Okay.
I don't even have, like, the push button. I don't even know how to get my own.
Mm-hmm.
Can I, like, No, I didn't take it out though. I don't know.
Do you remember what you did with her cell phone?
I didn't. Was that her pocket?
I don't know.
I didn't see her phone though.
Okay. All right. So maybe her phone might still be with her?
I don't know.
Okay, you didn't do anything with her phone.
I didn't want to look. I didn't want to see anything.
Okay.
Here, detectives dive into the second most crucial piece of evidence, Melody's phone and SIM card, because that is what has helped them catch Colby. He had put Melody's SIM into his own phone, but Colby has a way of coming up with the stupidest reasons for his actions. The nature of his crimes is so weird and awful that the only way he can explain them is by telling the truth.
What did you see?
Fog, and then right last minute, she appeared.
Okay. What did she look like?
I didn't see her.
Do you remember colors or anything, or?
I thought she had something yellow on.
Okay.
Probably that's the only thing I can think of. I mean, I didn't.
She was
It happened
wearing
so fast.
something yellow?
I think. I mean, like, it's what it looked like when I was driving, a yellow figure.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay.
I don't think so. Like, what?
Well,
what are you looking for?
I'm just trying to get you to describe what you saw.
Yeah, I mean, it was just happened so fast, though. Like, she came out there was nothing there, and then she was there.
And do you remember where at on your vehicle she would have hit?
I was, like, assuming the middle. Which I thought it would have been, like, the side, because I tried to turn last minute, but, I mean, probably wasn't that much time.
Okay. So after you hit her, what happened next?
I stopped.
Okay. Did you?
Got out, went up to her, ran up to her.
Where was she at?
Laying on the side of the road.
Okay. Do you think she was on the Paige part or somewhere else?
I think she was more in the grass, but like close to the road.
Okay.
And then I went up to her, asked her, like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I could tell.
Was there any response from her at all? Okay. All right. Where at on her body did you check?
Touched her shoulder. I mean, I like pushed on her shoulder, moved her, and she didn't do anything. I asked her if she's okay. And she didn't say anything.
Okay. Were her eyes open or shut? Do you remember? Can you remember her position? Was she up?
She was laying on her, like, on her side.
On her side. Okay. And what was her clothing?
I think she had like jogging clothes on, like, you know, like workout clothes, maybe.
Okay.
Like shorts and shirt.
Okay. You remember the color of those?
No, I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Would you be shocked to hear that the accident was in fact a fully planned murder? This was revealed from the third big piece of evidence, which were the tire tracks from Colby's car that you can see on the screen. Forensic evidence shows that Colby did not deviate from his path until after hitting Melody. Contrary to what he says, he wanted to intentionally hit her. He had already seen Melody as she was wearing a bright yellow jacket, and he hit her with the intention to kill or abduct her on the spot. What made him choose Melody is still not clear. Maybe she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, but this one decision changed many lives all at once. Now it makes sense why he put her in the trunk of his car. It was because he had some disturbing plans to execute. If you've ever felt frustrated or disgusted, imagine being a detective sitting in front of a... Even the most seasoned detectives might not be able to maintain the facade of being empathetic anymore. Watch as they finally confront him with some of the most disturbing aspects of his crime.
Never touched the phone or anything? Okay. Alright.
Her clothes, I did not take her clothes off.
Okay.
The rags, I did wipe out the bed out. I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
Okay.
What else did you throw away there? Because they're pulling video from the car wash. Remember what I told you?
I know, but
we're looking at everything, so I need you to be honest with me. Okay. What else did you throw away?
It was just rags. I just grabbed a pile of shit.
What else? Rags. You know there was more stuff that you threw out.
Well, then obviously there's clothes then. But
Well, tell us about
I
it.
didn't know they were hers.
Well, how'd they get in the trash?
Because there was just a pile of clothes in the bag. I thought,
whose are they?
I thought it was just like a shirt or something I was using to wipe up.
So clothes in the back of your truck that you don't know whose they are.
No, I
you
was
decided to throw.
I had a box. The box is still back there. I was handling it with held in. And I just grabbed it and I threw everything.
What else is in that pile of
Should just be rags, clothes, or whatever that. Well, obviously the shorts now, but then I think that's it.
Whose shorts are they?
Well, I thought it was a shirt.
Well, whose shirt is it?
I thought it was mine.
Colby.
But I thought it was just like the shit that I was using to wipe up. You know what I mean?
So if it's not hers, whose is it?
Well, I don't know. But is it hers then? Because her clothes are off, right?
Are you saying you put her in the back of the truck with her clothes on? Somewhere in the car ride, her shorts are off, but you don't know how?
What?
Tell me how that much sense that makes.
That don't make sense.
Right. So that's what I'm telling you. You got to tell the truth to us. Because guess what? When we go and pull a video from that car ride, it'll be like, well, he's lying about this, he's lying about this, he's lying about this. Then we're going to say, well, we're not going to bat for this guy because he's not telling us the truth. But guess what? We're going to find out the truth anyway. So you need to come clean with us, all right, Colby?
When her clothes are ripped up from getting hit, I'm assuming.
Okay.
And then probably when I put her in, everything was like ripping off, and then I just threw everything away.
Okay, so they are her clothes that you threw away?
Yes, I'm sorry.
At the car wash.
Were you wondering till now what the detective's obsession with Melody's clothing was? Here's where the most sickening aspect of this case is revealed. Melody's bloody clothes were found in Colby's home trash can. And secondly, authorities reported that before hitting and abducting Melody, Colby had made many online searches regarding assault, and he had been fantasizing about these unspeakable actions before he ever laid eyes on his victim. What's even more shocking is that Colby visited online chat rooms while he was in possession of Melody's body. And the facade of guilt you see is only an act as well, because even after her death, he continued to browse for content.
There's something very significant that you should remember.
What?
And guess what? It's going to have your DNA on it, and it may have her DNA on it also. So I need you to tell me the truth. You know what it is, and I know what it is, but I need you to say it. Colby, tell me.
Well, I don't know.
You know what this is. Because guess what? When we're going to test it, everything's getting tested. I'm telling you this.
I don't know what would have DNA on it. I'm honest.
You had sex with her.
No, I didn't. I would not have sex with a dead person.
People do it.
Oh, I'm not one of those people.
Why are we finding evidence of this on her? Evidence of this in the trash.
What's in the trash? Her
I want
shorts?
you to tell me. This is all
I'm not.
This is all going to come out.
Colby,
I told you now, Fergal. I told you guys.
You're leaving stuff out.
I'm not leaving shit out. I didn't her, okay? I didn't have sex with her. That's up. It's whatever happened. I know.
Was the spent condom something that you threw in there from a time that you had
It
a
could have
relationship with somebody else?
Well, that's it's not mine. I don't wear condoms.
Okay. All right. So there's
With them, but that's it.
okay, but there's no, like Kyle's telling you, there's no reason.
No,
It's just
I was
suspicious.
not.
It's just
I get it.
okay.
I understand. That's why I think I was scared to
Yeah.
say shit.
Right.
Oh, not a dead girl.
Tell me about the condom then.
I didn't have a condom though. I didn't know. I threw one away. It's a car wash, though. There's hundreds of people.
So you're saying that one's not yours?
I don't know. It might have been. But I didn't use it with her.
But you just told us a little bit ago.
I said I might off in one.
Okay.
But I have a girlfriend and we never use a condom.
So would there be a reason why that would have been left in your vehicle?
What?
The condom?
No.
Okay.
Is there going to be any DNA of her on there?
I don't know. Why would there be?
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to find out.
Okay, I didn't have sex with her, okay? I swear.
And you do know, as Kyle said, if that comes back, that's why we collected DNA. It's all for elimination purposes. Your DNA may be on that condom, right? Might be. But her DNA definitely won't be.
No.
Okay?
I didn't have sex with her.
Oh, that's all I'm asking. I'm just asking. Yours might be on it, okay? Your DNA may be on that condom, but hers will not.
No.
Okay. All right.
Mine shouldn't be on there, so I don't use them.
Okay. You said you jack off in them, so
yeah,
you use them for something.
When was the last time you would have a condom? A long time ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Like we're talking months, weeks, years?
Right when I lived in my old house.
And that was what?
July? June?
So it still would have been in your truck?
Yeah, there's condoms in my truck because I bought a big ass pack of them a long time ago. And they were like in a bag. They're all over the place.
Okay. Do you think anything else?
I don't.
All right, let me go back there and just throw some of this stuff away. I'll be right back.
You just see how it looks.
It's all, I never did now. Now it's all turning.
You're in over your head, and you're flustered. You're making mistakes.
I'm sorry, I don't remember every little thing. Okay, and I get the wiping the thing out. I should have told you, but I figured you guys would have like made it. Like I was trying to hide shit or something. I know it sounds stupid, but I'm not explaining it.
And finally, the last nail in Colby's coffin. A used condom was found in the trunk of his car. After DNA tests, it was found that the inside had Colby's DNA and the outside of the condom had Melody's DNA. It was also found that it was used on her posthumously. Do you believe Colby after the information you now possess, or does his guilt look like an act now? This is the most confrontational detectives have been with Colby regarding the more disturbing details of his crimes. Colby in turn looks embarrassed because of the nature of what he's done. He looks away when he's presented with the evidence. Finally, on July 31st, 2023, Colby Martin was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole on 3 counts. Open murder, failure to stop at the scene when at fault causing death, concealing the death of an individual. Judge Kathleen Brinkley said, "In your premeditation and in your deliberation, you imagined this and you made it happen. The threat that you pose to society is serious, and it is unmatched in anything I've seen in 11 years on the bench."
September 20th, 2021, the nightmare that exists today began. 36 hours of extreme panic and confusion as we frantically looked for my mouth. A panic and uncertainty that no one should ever have to face.
Sometimes the nature of crime is so bizarre that no amount of thinking, understanding, or research can make sense of it. The most common motive for is a desperation to have an unresisting and unrejecting partner. But is that why Colby did this? Is that why Melanie had to die and be disrespected posthumously? Whatever the answer may be, it will not ease the pain of her loving family and friends. For them, a lifelong partner, a loving mother, and a giving friend was taken away.
Diane, you knew that they were drinking antifreeze. You knew that. They didn't. We both know that. You knew, Diane, that they were drinking antifreeze because you were giving it to them.
I've screwed up everybody. I've screwed up my own family.
Once upon a time, there were 6. Now there are 3. Only the quiet one lives. My mother, my little sister, and me. This chilling poem contained a dark secret of the Stuadte family and turned out to be a crucial piece of evidence in the case. Let's first explore the dynamics of the Stuadte family. In 2012, Mark and Diane Stuadte led seemingly ordinary lives in Springfield, Missouri. Mark, 61, was a vocalist in a local blues band, while 51-year-old Diane, a trained nurse, served as the organist at the Redeemer Lutheran Church. The couple had 4 children: Sean, 26, who had autism; Sarah, 24, was a high school graduate but was unemployed with student loans; Rachel, 22, was Diane's favorite and excelled in music and was active in the church; and 9-year-old Brianna, who had learning disabilities. Despite facing tough times, the Stuadte family appeared tightly knit. However, tragedy struck in 2012 when Mark Stuadte fell ill and passed away from a heart attack. The misfortune continued as 26-year-old Sean began exhibiting similar symptoms and succumbed to sickness in September 2012. After this, Diane and her 3 daughters were left to grieve. In June 2013, Diane Stuadte's eldest daughter, Sarah, was hospitalized in critical condition after being unresponsive and sick for nearly a week. Diane sought prayers for Sarah's well-being on Facebook. Simultaneously, an anonymous tip to the Missouri Homicide Department suggested that it wasn't the first time that the Stuadte family had faced this sort of tragedy.
What did the caller say exactly?
That Diane Stuadte might be responsible for 2 or 3 homicides. Again, brought up Mark's death, Sean's death being very close proximity to each other. Also spoke about the potential that Sarah was going to die as well.
So the caller was essentially blowing the whistle on Diane Stuadte.
Correct, yes. All right. Is it Stout?
Stuadte.
Stuadte? Okay. Well, again, Miss Stuadte, I appreciate you being willing to come down and speak with us. We're very helpful on your part.
I'm trying to be.
Yeah. All right.
Don't know what I can tell you.
Well, okay. Well, that's what we're going to try and get figured out. Obviously, like I told you at the house, we got the call about Sarah and her condition, but you say she's doing better?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When did all this come about?
She started feeling sick Saturday, just a mild headache.
This past Saturday?
Well, it's been a whole week.
Oh, so how did all that come about?
She started Saturday. She complained of a little headache, and her stomach was upset, and she threw up a couple of times, and that was it. And then her normal routine is she stays up all night and sleeps during the day. So I didn't think any about it until Sunday afternoon, and then I couldn't get her to wake up. She didn't respond to me, so we took her to the emergency room.
Okay. So on Saturday then, you said she was having some headaches and throwing up.
But it wasn't that bad.
Not
mean, I've seen the flu bug worse.
Okay.
So I didn't think that much about it.
About what time was that on Saturday?
Oh, that was in the afternoon.
Okay. And then you remember about what time it was that she went to bed?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I really don't know, because I go to bed at 10 at night, and she's usually still up.
Okay. And then you woke up Sunday morning.
And she was asleep.
Okay. Then what happened?
Me and the other girls went to church, and we left her sleeping.
Okay.
And then I came home, and she was still sleeping. And then maybe a couple hours later, I went to check on her, and we just couldn't get her to respond or answer or anything.
Okay. So you brought her to the ER?
Yeah.
And that was Sunday?
That was Sunday
night?
I want to say afternoon.
Afternoon.
It was still daylight.
Okay. Okay, so after you get home from church, you go in to check on her. She's still asleep, but she just will not respond. She's completely unresponsive.
Yeah.
Okay, and what time about was it that you got home from church?
I want to say around 12:30.
Okay. And then sometime, you say in the afternoon, it was still light out.
Mm-hmm.
You remember about what time it was that you took her to the ER?
Maybe 3-ish.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right. Is she still unresponsive at that point?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we literally had to, Rachel and I had to carry her.
Oh,
We
wow.
carried her to the car.
Okay. All right.
And it's like, okay, this is not good. You
Mhm.
know, it's like something's wrong.
All right. And what did they say at the hospital?
Basically, she was as sick could get.
But no idea what it was?
We had no clue. Still don't really have a clue. I mean, with her medical background, she's bipolar.
Okay.
My first thing is, did she get into something? You know, did she try to overdose or something? And then when I got home from the ER, I checked her medicine and she had plenty of pills left. So I don't think she OD'd her medicine, but I have no clue.
Based on the information from this tip, Detective Neil McAmis started investigating the case. A bizarre pattern was found. Both Mark and Sean had very similar symptoms before dying, which were now being seen in Sarah as well. To get more clarity, Diane was summoned to the sheriff's office. In this part, Detective Neil McAmis starts building a rapport with Diane related to Sarah's current and past health condition and what led to her being in such a serious state. Diane's body posture so far looks calm and relaxed. Her clarity in speech and clear eye contact with the detective reflects a positive approach from her side. However, it's important to note that she isn't aware of the information that Detective McAmis has against her. So it's safe to say that she has started well with her pretense.
I really don't.
So it didn't look like to you then that she would have overdosed
No,
on her
and
then?
then I, you know, when I'm telling the ER folks, you know, this is her history, and I know they were probably running every test under the sun on her, and they said nothing, they couldn't figure it out either.
Okay. If she wouldn't have, obviously because the pills were there, if she wouldn't have overdosed on pills, you know what else she might have done?
She's talked about in the past about cutting her wrist, but as far as other ways, I have no clue.
Okay, but
She's
obviously
really
she
never
didn't-
said anything.
But obviously she didn't cut her wrist.
No,
Okay.
no,
So you don't know how else she might have done it?
no.
Okay.
I mean, if she did find something to take, I have no clue.
Okay. You have any idea what it would be that she'd find to take?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, I don't. As far as pills, I don't have much. Other, you know, Tylenol, Motrin, that type of stuff. But
Anything else maybe besides pills or that she could do?
well, if she got into like cleaners and stuff like that, but I don't know. I can't really picture her doing that.
Okay. So you don't think she's the type of person that would try to harm herself, or?
I really don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Part of me says yeah, part of me says no. I don't know.
Did she mention anything about, wanting to harm herself, or
No.
nothing at all?
No.
Okay.
No. I know she had been not sleeping as good as she's been in the past, but other than that, I hadn't really noticed much change.
Okay.
But then, I don't know. It's so subtle sometimes, you just never know what's going on.
Sure.
And it's tough because I try to give her space, but yet I want to kind of know what's going on.
You said you have other daughters. How many do you have?
I have 2 others.
How old are they?
22 and 11.
Would they know? Would Sarah have maybe said something to them about wanting to harm herself?
I asked them, and they said they hadn't. Nothing.
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 Okay. So you don't think it was pills? You thought maybe she could have gotten into some cleaners or something?
Yeah, because I know I have cleaners, and I don't. What else is there?
While Diane initially hints at Sarah's past mental health issues and self-harm as a potential explanation for the poisoning, she eventually acknowledges that this is not a plausible excuse. Consequently, she shifts the conversation to the topic of household cleaners. Despite almost losing her daughter to poisoning, Diane's behavior is unexpectedly detached. She giggles while discussing the possibility that household cleaners could have caused Sarah's poisoning. The detective notices this emotional distance, which becomes more evident in subsequent interactions, shedding light on the underlying reasons.
If she did take some cleaners or something, could that essentially...
Well, I can see that hurting the kidneys, but that wouldn't cause her brain. I mean, she had a brain bleed.
Oh, she had a...
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's like, I can't figure that one out. Because I even asked, it's like, you're sure it's a bleed, not a stroke, or a blood clot? Because that runs in my family, so. But they said it was a bleed, and it's like, what would do that?
Strokes or blood clots run in your family? Both, or, I'm sorry, strokes?
Well, it's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
You can throw a blood clot to the brain, and that causes a stroke.
Okay. And that runs in your family? Like how far?
Well, I've had a TIA.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't know.
That's like a mini stroke.
Okay.
And then my mom had one, and her mom died of a stroke.
Okay.
But
would it be common for somebody that her age, though, that... Because from what I understand, Sarah was in really good...
Yeah, she was in good...
As far as we know, she was in good health. Great physical health, yeah.
Because I know it was negative on alcohol, so I know she didn't get into the beer, but...
Is she much of a drinker?
No.
No? What about drug user? Is she much of a drug user? Nothing that you're aware of?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
See, that makes me question, it's like, well, did she do something? And if she did, I'd sure as heck like to know what, so I could prevent it again. I can't go through this again.
What do you mean? Can't go through this
rough.
again? Oh, you mean this whole ordeal? Okay, yeah.
It's rough.
I bet, especially since she almost died.
Yeah.
Brain bleeds typically occur in young adults due to hypertension or high blood pressure. Substance abuse, including drugs and alcohol, can also contribute to this condition. Sarah, who was previously healthy, underwent multiple tests to identify the cause of her brain bleed, and all results came back negative. This strongly suggests that there was a substance in her system responsible for her condition. Given Diane's background in the medical field, she likely has some insight into the potential causes, but she consistently evades the detective's questions by providing vague answers. She expresses a desire to avoid similar events in the future instead of understanding what went wrong with Sarah, indicating a lack of compassion for her own daughter.
Does she work anywhere?
No.
No.
She's been supposedly trying to find a job, but I don't think she's been trying that hard.
Pardon me real quick. I'll be right back.
Diane's lighthearted humor regarding her job raises doubts about her understanding of the gravity of the case and the ongoing investigation. It's the first time she speaks about her dissatisfaction with Sarah's lack of effort in job hunting. This observation is noteworthy, as this subtle hint will turn out to be a crucial piece of information in this case.
Well, let me ask you this, because from talking with the hospital, it sounds like they're doing a bunch of tests, and they're even sending some tests off to labs elsewhere. They mentioned the Mayo Clinic and and possibly other places. Just the nature of this. Do you think there's going to be anything suspicious that they find in all these tests that they're going to be doing?
I have no clue.
Okay.
Because I don't even know what to look for.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if they're looking for some kind of a chemical that you may have taken, I can't think of what it would be to even know what tests they're doing.
Because from
Does that make sense?
Well, I see. From my understanding, it sounds like they're going to run a whole bunch of various chemical type tests, possibly, and just a whole bunch of other tests to see what was going on. If it would come back that there was something in there like that, how would you explain that?
I don't know. Depends. I don't know. Depends on what. If something did show up, I'd have to figure out what it is. and then try and figure out where did it come from. Because I don't know.
Do you know much about the autopsy process?
A little bit.
Okay. What did they tell you about Sean's autopsy?
That he had a congenital kidney defect. That they found quite a bit of brain damage. I'd never heard of the word gliosis before. They had found where he'd had his initial stroke, and then there was evidence of seizures.
Okay. Because we've spoken with the medical examiner about that, and I guess when they first did it, they really didn't look too much into if there was any types of chemicals or anything at all in his system or anything else like that. But when we did talk to them, they were able to tell us that they, just like with all autopsies, if you're familiar with those, they take tissue samples and hair samples and all kinds of other samples, and they basically keep them for a while. And fortunately, they still have a bunch of his stuff, and so they're gonna do a bunch of tests on his stuff as well. Okay. So if his stuff were to come back with anything like that, something similar to maybe what Sarah's might come back with, how would you explain that?
I don't know. I really don't know. Again, it depends on what shows up. And
What do you think it might be?
I really don't know.
Think there could be anything maybe malicious or suspicious involved with that?
I can't think of that, you know.
Would you be surprised if something like that came back?
Yeah,
Would you?
I think so. I think I would be surprised.
Okay.
I mean,
Why would you be surprised?
Well, I never anticipated anything showing up, you know?
At the start of the interrogation, Detective McCamus was already informed about the case of antifreeze poisoning involving Sarah, Sean, and possibly Mark. The fact that both Mark and Sean had very similar symptoms like the flu, throwing up, and having seizures before dying points to foul play. Notice how Detective McCamus offers several chances for Diane to confess by subtly hinting at the possibility that they might have information about the culprit. Diane's repeated use of the phrase, "I don't know," indicates a lack of credible explanation.
You never anticipated anything showing up. Why would you not anticipate anything showing up?
Because I really don't know what. How can I say this to make sense? I really don't know. Like, for instance, Sarah, I don't know what happened.
Right.
And as far as Sean, I'm just taking their word that that's what happened.
And I understand. I think their initial, because they didn't obviously go into a bunch of stuff, but now after Sarah's condition, and there was no autopsy done on Mark, as we know, but maybe from some samples that were taken initially, not the autopsy, but just because I know Mark had some substance on his face and things like that, and from samples there, is there any reason that from samples taken at the time of these that there may be some kind of correlation or some kind of link, anything that may be similar in those?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
And if there was?
I wouldn't know.
What was Mark's life insurance policy like?
He only had $20,000. And that was it.
Okay. How about Sean?
Sean only had $15,000.
What about Sarah?
Sarah only has $15,000, I believe.
Rachel?
And Rachel has $15,000.
And Brianna?
Has $15,000.
Okay. And you were able to get the money from Mark and Sean's, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It took a while, but
But
finally.
right. And what did you do with that money?
With Mark's, we were able to move into a better neighborhood.
Right. How about Sean's?
With Sean's, I haven't even, right now it's still in savings because I haven't quite figured out what to do yet.
Okay.
With some of it.
What were your plans?
Some things I'm thinking more of just paying off bills.
Okay. What about Sarah's? If she passed, what was gonna...
I have no clue.
Diane confirms that all 4 of her children had $15,000 life insurance policies, while Mark's policy was worth $20,000. This information is crucial for the police to comprehend the motives behind these tragic events. What raises concern is how well Diane has memorized these policies in detail and her swift responses. It's important to note that the family only had one single income source, and that was Diane herself. Detective McAmis sought to better understand how the financial strain of raising children with special needs and other expenses might have contributed to the motive for these crimes.
Let's get back to the medical stuff, because of the samples from tissues and fluids and everything else at the hospital are doing with Sarah. And then because of that, they're going to go back, obviously, like I told you, and reevaluate Sean's autopsy and the samples that have been saved since then. And again, Mark having the same deal. So how would you explain, what would be your explanation if there's something in their samples that comes back as being, as if there is some kind of chemical or something that shouldn't be there of that nature?
I really don't know. I know Sean and Sarah were very close.
Okay, and what do you mean by that?
Well, they talked a lot together.
But what would that have to do with having some kind of substance? What would that have to do with some kind of substance, though, that shouldn't be there?
I don't know.
Okay.
Really, I don't know.
Okay. Did you ever have any suspicion with Mark's death?
Not really. I wouldn't call it suspicion. I was not surprised because he would binge drink and.
What was your guys' marriage like?
How can I say this? We were still married, but it was not what you call a good marriage.
Mm-hmm. Have there been any infidelities on either side?
He had.
He had.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing then, just briefly, thought he wasn't the best husband?
Probably not.
Okay.
Not to society, no.
What do you mean by that, not to society?
Well, he was running around and he would drink and smoke pot and.
So he wasn't a very good guy, is what you're saying?
Yeah. I know, I've had friends who told me I should kick him out, but I couldn't find myself kicking him out.
Why not?
I was afraid he'd kill himself.
Why is that, though? Why would he kill himself?
Oh, he was bipolar too.
And even though things were bad and he wasn't a good husband and you said he wasn't good for society, that you didn't want him to kill himself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Even with all his faults, I still loved him.
While Detective McAmis continues to press Diane with increasingly specific questions about hypothetical scenarios related to medical examinations, hinting towards her involvement, Diane consistently avoids them. In situations like this, suspects often believe that avoiding answers is their best strategy. However, what they may not realize is that trained detectives like Detective McAmis have the expertise to obtain confessions without direct confrontation. The more Diane decides to deflect the questions, the more it suggests her involvement in the case. In the later part of the previous clip, Diane shares her experiences in her marriage with Mark and expresses her deep care and love for him despite his flaws. What stands out, however, is her apparent lack of concern when Mark met an untimely death, raising suspicions about her indifference and laid-back attitude.
Well, Ms. Stout, there's been some things that have come up. We've been investigating this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there's been some things that have come up during the investigation. Some of it to do with some tests that have been done on Sarah.
Okay.
And then again, some of it from when we've started working with the doctors that had performed the autopsy. So there's some questions that need to be answered about that. And I'm hoping that we can get an explanation, because I know that you, from looking into this stuff and looking into you, I know that you are that you're a God-fearing woman. You know, you're strong in the church. You know, very, very dedicated to the church. You're somebody that knows, about the right thing and about God's way. Mm-hmm. I'm a believer myself, so I understand where you're coming from on that. Sometimes in life, there's things that happen or things that go on that may not, good people don't normally always do, but there's reasons for sometimes people to slip up a little bit, make a mistake every now and then. You would agree with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we are with this situation now where some stuff's been brought to our attention. And I think you're a very good lady. Okay. With the right intentions, right? Yeah, you try.
I try.
But sometimes everybody kind of reaches a tipping point or a breaking point, and it gets to where again, like I said, that maybe certain decisions are made that normally wouldn't be made for that. And with some of the stuff involved in these cases, from what we've been looking at, I think you're aware of why we're here.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think you know why we're here talking. And now is your chance to kind of help fill in, because there still are some questions about why things may have happened and that nature, and this is your opportunity, because people are going to be looking for some answers, and they're going to want to know why, and we're going to want to be able to go back to them and say, this is it, she's a good person, but give them some kind of explanation as to why, because I know that there's a reason, maybe why some of this stuff did happen.
And as far as Sarah, I don't know. Did she get into something? My stomach's rumbling.
After providing several opportunities for Diane to come clean, Detective McAmis attempts to indirectly confront Diane one last time. He skillfully uses Diane's beliefs as a tool to put pressure on her. Detective McAmis shifts his approach from an interrogator to a sympathizer to get towards the truth. He says things she wants to hear and then focuses on the possibility that the test result wasn't looking good for Diane and asks for an explanation. Diane, unaware of the full extent of the investigation, remains silent, undermining her credibility.
let's get past that, Diane. Okay, let's talk about it, because I think you probably want to talk about it. You need to talk about it because when people do things, it's always good to ask for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. And oftentimes the best way to ask for forgiveness is to talk about it and give an explanation as to why things happen.
As far as Sarah's a difficult child to deal with.
I understand.
And I've been kind of putting pressure on her to, you need to get out and get a job. Your college bills are coming due. I don't want to pay for them. After all, you get tired of doing everything for your kids, and it's like you need to step up and do it. But as far as, I don't know. As far as did I do something to her, I didn't do anything to her. I mean, I guess I could have taken her to the ER sooner, but I didn't know.
How would you explain, if through everything that's been going on, because I've been involved in this investigation for a while now, and I've been working with the hospital, how would you explain, because the hospital has been, like I said, working with me, and you may not be privy to know everything that we've been discussing. How would you explain if something's been found that may indicate otherwise?
I don't know. All I know is if she, I don't know. I know I didn't do anything.
And if you did?
I'm just telling you I didn't do anything. I mean, the only thing, maybe I could have taken her in sooner, but I didn't do anything.
Diane, here's the deal. I'm here to try to help you out with all this, because I know.
Because I need all the help I can get.
I understand. I understand. I really do. And I know that this is, I know because you're a good person, I know that this is tearing you up, that this is bothering you. I truly understand that. But I'm here to help you out because I know that you don't want, because of you being a good person, you don't want everybody out here when this all comes out, you don't want them to think of you as a bad, evil type person, because I know that that's not how you are. But that's why I'm here to try to help you out, to give you the opportunity to say, because I think I know why, and it's for some of the reasons we've already talked about. I think it's just pushed to the brink, can't take it anymore. You're doing all this stuff for everybody, you're working all the time, you're paying the bills, you're doing this, you're doing that. You can't get help, no jobs, you got all this other stuff, all these other burdens coming upon you, where all of us get to a point where we just say, enough is enough. And I understand that. But you've got to help me figure out, you got to tell me this stuff. You got to tell me why. That way we can get to that point, that's way when we can get it out there that, this isn't just about somebody that's bad and evil. You want people to know that that's not what it is. It just gets to the point, Diane. It's just the breaking point. All of us, every one of us have it.
By this point, Diane is on the verge of confessing, and the detective takes a compassionate approach, validating that her actions may have had genuine reasons. Sympathy in such situations always gives an advantage to detectives. He assures her that she isn't a heartless murderer, and that it might have been an outcome of a state of mind where she had just been overwhelmed. But at the same time, he constantly reminds her that he already knows details of the case, as he has been investigating it for quite a long time. He emphasizes that the only way to seek forgiveness is by admitting the truth. Despite her continuous verbal denials of any involvement in the poisoning of her family members, her body language and tone tell a different story. By now, it is clear from her words that she has been struggling with significant stress, juggling the roles of breadwinner and caregiver simultaneously.
It's just as simple as that, Diane. It's just, we all have that. We get right there, and then, all the burdens that you have to have on you. And that's what I'm giving you the chance, Diane. That's why we're here today, is so you can tell me. So we can get it all on the table. It'll be that weight that'll be lifted off your shoulders, because I know people that care, especially good people like yourself, that walk around and carry this kind of stuff, carry these kind of burdens. So many times just talking about it, to get it out there and say, here's the deal, I did this because I had all this going on. And then it'll be a relief to be able to talk about it, to get it off your shoulders, and then to help with the forgiveness and the healing process. But you have to do it. That's why I'm here. You have to sit down, just like we're doing, and talk about it and get it all out there. You do know that. You do know. I know you're afraid of going to jail, but you shouldn't even be thinking about that right now.
I know. But that's how my mind works.
I understand, but let's put that out of your mind, because you shouldn't even be thinking about that. Okay. I understand you're afraid to go to jail. Well, we're not going to even think about that, because that's got nothing to do with it. Now is your chance to tell us why, and to show some remorse and ask for forgiveness, and that way I can go to these other people and say, yeah, she made some mistakes, and that was it. So tell me about it, Diane.
There's a lot of arguments. And to put it really short and sweet, I knew they were drinking antifreeze. And I was so mad at them, I didn't want to take them in. I delayed.
And why'd you delay?
Because I was mad.
And that would just eliminate those problems, wouldn't it? They wouldn't be there to nag you, to bug you, to talk bad to you, to be mean to you, to be disrespectful to you. That would just be a problem that's gone.
Yeah. I guess you could say that, but,
right. But Diane,
problems never go away.
Right. How'd you know they were drinking antifreeze, Diane?
They told me.
Diane, I want you to understand this, okay? I want you to understand where we're at this point. Okay? Right now, because I know you're scared. I completely understand that. I 110% understand that you're scared. But Diane, right now is not the time to tell me things that aren't true, because it all comes back to, again, when other people, not me, but when other people that are going to see this, look at this and go, did she come in and tell the truth, or did she lie, and lie? Okay? You have to understand there's going to be a lot of people that look at this, and you don't want them to see all these lies. You and I both know why you knew they were drinking antifreeze, and you need to tell me about that. And lying about it, Diane, will not help you. You know that. You don't need me to tell you that. You need to I know how you knew they were drinking antifreeze. Then you need to tell me.
How I knew they were drinking it? Because I saw them drinking it.
need to tell me the whole truth, Diane. And you know, we're looking at each other eye to eye right now. You know that I know. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I wouldn't have showed up on your door today. Because when we've been investigating for a while, and we had to make sure that everything was as it was appearing. That's why we waited. And then I showed up today to talk to you. And Diane, right now, because you're a good person, you're better than this. People that come in here and are not completely truthful with me are the bad people. And you're not one of those. We need to get past all this stuff. I understand you're scared. I completely understand that. But we got to get past this, Diane, because there's going to be lots of other people that see this and look at this. And you got to tell the truth, the whole truth. I know why you need to tell it.
Why they were drinking it, or?
I know how they were drinking.
Yeah.
You need to tell the whole story, Diane. People will look at this and you have to understand, just as a person on the outside, when you look at this, if you're sitting and you looked at this person come in and say, you know what, I'm sorry, what I did was wrong, and this is why I did it, and this is how I did it, and they put it all out on the table to get it over with. Usually people look at that and go, you know what, they made a mistake, but they owned up to it and they did the right thing. Or do you have somebody that comes in and tries to not tell the whole truth, that says this or that, but it's not the whole truth, and people know that? When then people see that, they go, you know what, she made some mistakes, but then she tried to not tell the whole truth about it. I'm not quite sure that person's as good as what we thought. So you have to understand that, Diane. You've got to tell me the whole truth, because you know that I already know. But you've got to tell me how all this started, when it started, why it started. Because you're going to want people to see that you're remorseful and that, you know, you're sorry for what you did. And that you've asked for forgiveness. Diane, you knew that they were drinking antifreeze. You knew that. They didn't.
Following a comprehensive investigation, detectives conducted a search of the Stuadte household. Ethylene glycol, an organic compound utilized in the manufacturing of polyester fibers and as an ingredient in antifreeze formulations, was discovered. This odorless, colorless, flammable, syrupy liquid has a sweet taste, but is highly toxic in concentrated doses. It was found mixed with Coca-Cola in the bottles in the Stuadte residence in their garage. Despite Detective McAmis directly confronting Diane this time, she persistently denies involvement, giving dishonest explanations to uphold her facade until the very last moment. Her efforts fail as the detective accurately pinpoints that Diane herself had been mixing antifreeze into the coke.
We both know that. You knew, Diane, that they were drinking antifreeze because you were giving it to them.
I may have. I don't remember.
You know, how often was this? Was this every day, or how many times a day? I guess I should say.
Once a day.
Once a day.
Yeah.
And you say it started out with a couple tablespoons, but then when it wasn't killing them, then maybe it moved on to just a little bit more and more.
Maybe, I don't remember.
How long ago did you start with Sarah to give her the antifreeze?
Maybe a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Diane finally admits her involvement in the crime as Detective McAmis practically lays it out for her. Balancing the responsibility for the well-being of numerous children with challenges and an irresponsible husband, Diane found herself stressed and exhausted. She explains that she felt she had no other choice. She didn't want her family to suffer. However, the story doesn't conclude here. It's not as straightforward as it may seem. Let's delve deeper and continue to follow Detective McAmis on this journey.
There's more ongoing testing, obviously, and there's going to be some more ongoing testing. But we felt at this point that it was time to have a talk with your mom. Okay. Brought your mom in today and interviewed her at length for quite a long time. And basically what has happened is your mom has admitted to killing your dad and your brother and trying to kill your sister with poison. I know it's hard to process and a hard thing to even think about, but she basically spelled out to us how she did this and the reasons for doing it. We had got some information early on that they're like, as far as your sister goes, that this lady's been poisoned. It's not a medical thing. It's not a genetic thing. It's leaning more towards the lines of a foul play thing. So brought your mom in today and talked to her, and after talking to her for a while, she finally told us what she had been doing. She had been giving your father small doses of antifreeze in his drinks over several day period. Same thing with your brother, and same thing with your sister Sarah. I know it's very difficult, and obviously we don't think that you or your sister had any knowledge, obviously, of that. Your mom is obviously she's torn up over the whole thing, and mentally she's beat herself up over it, I'm sure.
Dear God.
During the interview, 22-year-old Rachel Stuadte was informed about her mother's role in poisoning their family members. Although Diane confessed to her actions and asserted that Rachel was unaware of the incidents, she failed to grasp that the investigation had its own evidence to suggest otherwise. Her response to the news is more complex than it appears, filled with various emotions and reasons. Let's watch it closely.
Did you ever have any suspicions about anything when your dad and brother and sister got sick?
In hindsight now, yeah. I mean, now that I think on it, yes, but God. It's hard to even imagine something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If there was, I'd really hit it well. It's just hard to think that somebody would do that, so it makes sense now, but God, didn't even think about that then.
Kind of tell me about the deal with your dad. How did everything happen with that? So he
really
was
sudden.
Okay, so he was pretty much fine, and then you say then all of a sudden he gets sick. He didn't want to eat, and then he started throwing up. Was he throwing up for 3 or 4 days?
Just about. It wasn't very long, though.
When you say it wasn't very long, what do you mean?
Like 3 or 4 days. Like, when I get sick, usually I'm out for like a week throwing up. I know, it's a bit weird to think about it in terms of me versus how others get sick, but to me, 3 or 4 days is not that long. But
at this point, it's evident that Detective McAmis is cautious in discussing matters about which he is not certain. When questioned about her involvement in assisting her mother with the crime, Rachel vehemently denies the accusations. Her body language and choice of words clearly conveys her desire to appear innocent. However, she lacks specific details in her responses, such as mentioning seeing things from hindsight, which raises questions about the vagueness of her answers and encourages the detectives to dig deeper.
Do you recognize this?
yeah, I remember this.
Okay. What is that?
Little journal thing.
A journal thing? Whose journal?
Mine.
Your journal? So you wrote this then, is what you're telling me? Okay. You remember writing this then, is what you're saying? Okay. take a look at this. Is that your same journal that we were just talking about that you were writing?
There was a dream that I had that they would die, but
This is your journal?
yeah.
You wrote this? And you remember writing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you get to read it all? Got some questions for you, Rachel. Some questions that you need to be honest with me about.
Detective McAmis leaves no room for escape as he confronts Rachel, systematically eliminating any potential excuses she might employ. He makes Rachel admit that there were no significant health concerns in Mark, Sean, or Sarah before they died, or were in critical condition. While the investigation is ongoing, detectives in the Stuadte residence discover a personal journal belonging to Rachel. The journal entry that Rachel is shown in this interrogation reads, "It's sad when I realize how my father will pass on in the next 2 months. Sean, my brother, will move on shortly after. It will be tough getting used to the changes, but everything will work out. Mom also said that I get to have Dad's car when he's gone."
Okay. Now, Rachel, we need to talk about this. And again, I appreciate you being truthful with me, what we just talked about. But you're going to have to continue to be truthful with me. Are we understood? So you said you'd been having some dreams about them dying. And you told your mother about this. What did you tell your mother?
That it would be quick. That it'd be easy. That they'd be to heaven soon and we could move on. I didn't know when she bought the antifreeze, but I knew she'd been doctoring drinks.
Rachel doesn't take very long to accept her involvement after Detective McAmis catches her pretense and exposes her so efficiently. She admits to her role and mentions that she asked Diane to make the poisoning process swift and painless. At this juncture, it suggests nothing but an attempt to downplay her role in this crime. However, the evidence in Detective McAmis' possession doesn't lend much support to her attempt. Watch how this detective breaks every single wall of deceit that the mother-daughter duo has built.
Rachel, whose idea was this?
Mom brought it up, and we discussed, but...
So you and Mom are close enough. You guys are, just like we talked about earlier, you guys are best, close enough friends and, mother-daughter that you guys have a tight enough bond that you guys could discuss this.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the one to bring it up?
Yeah.
What did she say to you?
Basically went through different options. Was trying to find things that wouldn't be traceable, or at least would be hard to trace if you didn't know what you were looking for. I remember her searching online, though. I remember.
What kind of searches did she do for that?
A lot of Google search, a lot of, she mentioned once how to kill characters, like if you're writing stories, you could actually look up something like that, and she'd get ideas from it.
Did you guys do these searches together?
No, she'd happen to mention it.
So she told you that she was doing these searches?
Yeah.
So when she told you this, what did you say?
Other than it was disturbing and kind of creepy, don't know, I was quite uncomfortable with it, I mean.
Well, obviously, Rachel, you guys got to the point where something was agreed upon. Why did you guys want to kill them?
Sean I accepted that she wanted him gone, but I really didn't think he was necessary. And I really actually wasn't aware that she was getting Sarah. I knew about Sean, I knew about Dad, but I didn't know she was going to go ahead with Sarah.
Did Sarah know what was going to happen to your dad and your brother?
Probably not.
Probably not.
No.
Or probably so. What did I say about let's be honest about everything and get it out on the table? Because again, you've already seen I've spoken with your mother this morning, so you need to be honest about everything.
It's very possible she could have overheard.
Did Sarah know, yes or no?
Yes. Dad and then Sean.
Dad and then Sean. And you said you guys did research on the internet on types of poisons that could not be detectable if you weren't looking for them, or they would be difficult to find. And you talked about poisonous plants and cyanide. What else? Did you do any searches?
No.
We have your computer. What are we going to find on your computer? You need to be honest about everything.
Okay.
I want to sit here and be decent with you. You got to tell me everything, though. Okay? We're going to find it. It's better for you to... This is your chance, Rachel. Some mistakes were made, obviously. You guys didn't make the best decisions. But we're here now, and now's the time to deal with it.
Okay.
Because there's stuff that we already know. There's stuff that we're going to know. There's stuff we need to know. And we need to get this all done right now.
Okay.
What kind of searches did you do?
Death-related in general.
Death-related in general.
Specifically, I can't remember, but if you pull up the thing, I'll remember, because I can't remember specifically.
Okay, but in death in general, I mean, what does that mean?
How to kill someone.
How to kill someone. Okay, so when you're looking up how to kill someone, what did you come up with?
Tylenol, suffocation. I can't remember exactly. There's a lot of browsing.
Rachel makes a consistent effort to claim the moral high ground by acknowledging her discomfort with the plan. However, her journal entries, the evidence, and her own words have begun to work against her. Rachel's body language and tone have notably shifted as the confrontations leave little room for her to construct alternate narratives apart from the truth. During this point, Rachel also confesses that Sarah was aware of the plan to harm Mark and Sean, indicating Sarah's involvement. This prompts the question of what led Diane and Rachel to betray Sarah.
So when did the plan to kill Sarah come about?
May, June.
May or June? And so why was it decided to kill Sarah?
Other than the fact that she basically lived in the back bedroom and didn't, have any gumption to get a job, I'm not certain. Mom probably has her own issues with her.
What about you?
She's annoying, yes, but I don't know.
Did you guys fight a lot?
Yeah.
Your mother told me you guys fought all the time. Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that why you wanted Sarah gone? Or why did you want Sarah dead?
Back in middle school, she would touch me. I mean, she grew up it later when she got on the medicine, but she still argues. She still has really inappropriate jokes. She really had no purpose.
No purpose in life?
Not really, no.
Okay.
A critical moment of deception unfolds here. Initially, Rachel claimed she didn't know about her mother poisoning Sarah and attempted to come across shocked. However, she failed to maintain consistency in her lies and inadvertently revealed the timeline of when the mother-daughter duo began planning to harm Sarah. Rachel's confession that Sarah was aware of the plan to harm Mark and Sean, coupled with Sarah abusing Rachel when they were young, raises troubling concerns. Nevertheless, it seems important for Rachel to cast Sarah in a negative light to justify their actions. Detective McAmis recognizes the possibility of this situation, so he doesn't delve further into this topic. Interestingly, Rachel didn't bring this up in court, making it clear that it was just another excuse she had hoped to cling to. It was clear that Diane wanted no burdens, and her actions speak clearly, but the question here is what made them take Sarah to the hospital?
Let me ask you this. Why did you guys, because I've spoken to your mom about this, and I'd like to know why you guys eventually took, when Sarah got so bad, I know you guys said you thought that she was pretty much dead, but why did you take her to the hospital?
I didn't want another one to die in the house.
And why is that?
Because houses are nasty after somebody's died in it.
Okay, and what does that mean? What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
I get a lot of nightmares. Like after Sean died, I moved into his room and it was awful, awful, awful in there. I kept feeling things in there. I just didn't want that again.
Okay.
Guilt can be tormenting, but betrayal can push someone to the brink of madness. Rachel's experience in Sean's room after his death was primarily a tumultuous cocktail of guilt over betraying someone close to her. While her behavior here might seem irrational on the outside, her vocal tone and erratic body language hint at a different story. It shows the sheer panic and fear she felt while remembering the experience of that night. It's clear in these lines. Yet I feel your gaze lingering over me. I close my eyes and try not to think of the ghost of copper and bleach on my tongue. I try not to think of shuddering breaths or how easily a soul evaporates, leaving nothing behind but a hollow husk, curled up on the floor. Eyes vacant and dull, arms extended. But what were you reaching for? As chilling as it sounds, these feelings made Rachel traumatized, and as a result, the plan changed to let Sarah die in the hospital, not at home. So it's safe to say that the decision to bring Sarah to the hospital was driven by fear rather than compassion.
While we're on the topic of journal stuff, I guess, after we arrested you, when we had to search your purse, we found your new journal entry, some of the stuff that you'd written in there, and I've got some of that talking about how you felt, kind of bad about Sarah's pain because you helped basically put her in the position she was. And so did you feel bad then? Because you wrote that you felt a little bit bad about knowing that you helped put her in that much pain. So did you feel kind of bad about that, or?
It's harder when you're watching in the ER. She would scream out. I don't like screaming.
Okay. So that was harder. It would have just been easier for you if she just would have died and not having to see all that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you wrote a little poem at the end of that. Do you remember that? How did that poem go?
I read about the nurses a little bit.
Right.
And it's like, they make you feel stupid.
Mm-hmm. You remember at the very end of that writing what you wrote about?
Something to the effect that I know what's happening.
something like this. It said, once upon a time there were 6, now there are only 3. Only the quiet ones are left. My mom, my little sister, and me. When did you write that?
A little bit after she was put in the hospital, when she was still on the ICU floor.
You still thought she was going to die at that point?
Yeah.
Okay, because you said you were really surprised that she pulled through.
Mm-hmm.
Do you regret not waiting a little bit longer before you guys took her?
If it would have been a little less painless, yeah.
It's intriguing how both Diane and Rachel desired their family members to pass away in silence rather than endure pain. They couldn't bear to witness their loved ones suffering, even though they intended to kill them by poisoning them. Diane, being a dedicated follower of the Redeemer Lutheran Church, didn't hesitate to kill her own family members just out of spite, and made her favorite child her own accomplice. But as they say, the truth will always prevail. Remember the anonymous tip that the homicide department received after Sarah was hospitalized? It was none other than the pastor, Jeff Sippy, of the church where Diane attended. It is almost a coincidence that even Rachel's practice of journaling her emotions and intentions played a pivotal role in aiding the investigation to uncover the truth more effectively. Her own words ended up exposing her. Later, Rachel accepts that both Diane and her considered getting rid of Brianna, the youngest of the Stuadte siblings, as she had learning disabilities and it was bothersome for the family to function appropriately. Thus, a 4th attempted murder could have taken place in the future. Brianna's name was changed and she was put into foster care. Sarah recovered from the critical condition. Although she was out of danger, she endured permanent organ and brain damage and remains in assisted living. As the truth emerged, the mother-daughter pair faced legal proceedings. Rachel Stuadte pleaded guilty in May 2015 to 2 counts of second-degree murder and 1 count of first-degree assault. She received 2 life sentences with a chance of parole after 42.5 years. Her mother, Diane Stuadte, entered guilty pleas for 2 counts of murder in January 2016 and received a life sentence without the chance of parole. Sarah came to the trial, and her words to the mother were as direct as their attempt to murder her. I prefer to be a survivor than a victim. I forgive my mom for what she did to me. But she not only took away my dad and brother, but she took away my lifestyle, livelihood, and my independence. After witnessing the intense interrogations of Diane and Rachel Stuadte, we've come face to face with a truly unsettling story of betrayal within a family. These 2 seemingly normal family members were involved in a plot that caused great harm and claimed not 1, but 3 lives. Now, as we wrap up their story, we can't help but wonder, what could push them to do such extreme things? How does one deal with the moral and emotional turmoil of causing harm to those they hold dear? This case reminds us that the most surprising truths can emerge in an interrogation room with one detective who is dedicated enough to bring out the truth. It leaves us thinking about the complexity of human behavior, the blurred lines of loyalty, and the disturbing lengths people will go to in their quest for self-preservation.
Titus County 911, what's your emergency?
I have a home invasion. My niece is tied up.
She's tied up.
She is tied up and gagged. I am untying her. I can't get the...
What is the victim's name?
Samantha Wolford. She's saying that they hit her husband in the face about 5 times and drug him out.
So walk me through what happened.
I don't honestly know what happened. I was in bed asleep.
Okay.
And we heard a noise, and the second I was able to open my eyes, somebody grabbed me and jerked me out of the bed and slammed me down on the ground and started tying me up.
Didn't recognize anything about...
They had black masks on, black shirts, black pants. Every inch of skin was covered. Then when they dragged me downstairs, because they had him downstairs and they were separating us, I went downstairs and his face was covered in blood.
Do you know what they were hitting him with?
A gun.
The man whose interrogation will be analyzed today is 29-year-old Jose Ponce. He was one of 3 intruders on February 20th, 2015 during a home invasion at Carroll Young Complex in Dickinson, Texas. When responders reached the address, 29-year-old Ernst Ernie Lee Ibarra Jr. was nowhere to be found. His kids were still sleeping and the house was untouched. His wife, Samantha Wolford, who you saw on the body cam footage, seemed distraught at what had just taken place. Now, the questions were, who were these three intruders and where had they taken Ernie? But first, let's learn a little more about Ernie. In 2008, 23-year-old Ernie Ibarra and 19-year-old Samantha Wolford's love story began at a local tattoo shop, evolving into a deep connection labeled by many as soulmates. They moved in together in 2008, navigating the challenges of life. Samantha, already a mother of twins, welcomed a new chapter in 2011, giving birth to another set of twins. As Ernie became the family's primary provider, Samantha ventured into the digital world, creating a YouTube channel.
Today a lot of pissed me off, so you guys get to listen to it. Hey YouTube, I just posted a video probably like 10 minutes ago, and I sat back and watched it, and I missed a lot of things that I wanted to say. So, you get 2 videos! Yay!
Their family expanded in 2013 with the birth of Samantha's 5th child. In 2014, they solidified their commitment with wedding vows. Amidst the love, their journey faced its share of twists and challenges. As the investigation advanced, discrepancies emerged between the evidence collected and Samantha's narrative of the incident.
I'm not really seeing a whole lot of blood, though, for somebody that was pistol whipped.
Scene's not really making sense with what she's telling you.
No. Everybody's wearing all black. Black shoes, no identifying marks on them.
This led detectives to point this out and cross-question her further regarding these inconsistencies. With the right tactic, they were able to extract some significant information out of her.
My mother was the first number on my call list. I just used my face. And
so instead of calling 911 for help, you called your mother?
How do you press 911 with your face?
Well, how did you dial your mother with your face?
I didn't dial my mother. I just pushed the first thing that was on there. It had just happened to be my mom.
I think you know exactly who did this. I think the story's made up about the your daddy, his daddy, and stuff like that. And I think you know exactly who did this, and I think you're scared.
The only other thing.
Okay, see, I knew. You know, Sam. You know I'm not here lying to you. You know I know.
The only other thing I know, and I don't even know I know,
okay,
but it's a suspicion.
Okay.
I've been up in the hospital with my friend Charlotte.
Okay.
And she's got a guy there, and I swear to God I cannot go up there that I said any of this.
Okay.
Because they have a lot of friends around here, and my life will be in a lot of danger.
Okay.
I have a problem with talking to my friends about our problem.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets to talking about how a man shouldn't treat a woman that way, and how you don't do those things to a person,
Okay.
and he's going to deal with the situation.
Okay.
I didn't take him seriously.
Okay, you see, Sam, you know who did this. Okay, who is this guy?
His name's John.
John who?
His Facebook is Rebel, John Rebel.
What did you say when he said he's going to take care of that problem?
I just laughed at him. I thought he was joking.
So now all of a sudden, why are you bringing him out? Because you know that it was him.
Because
why do you know it was him?
I just have this feeling like it was.
This information directly led detectives to hunt down those exact 3 intruders: 28-year-old Jonathan Sanford, 28-year-old Octavius Rhymes, and 29-year-old Jose Ponce. All 3 were arrested on February 21st, 2015. Jonathan, when questioned, revealed that their initial plan was to frame Ernie as a drug dealer with methamphetamine, but it evolved into a darker intent: to end his life. Initially considering shooting Ernie, Jonathan later contemplated slitting his throat. In the end, during this deliberation, Jose intervened, pulling the trigger and fatally shooting Ernie in the head. Now, with all this information, detectives were armed and ready to confront Jose about the murder of Ernie, but they ended up finding out something much more complex. Let's dig deeper into the interrogation of Jose Ponce to find the answers for this complex narrative.
Well, we may not be talking. If you don't want to talk, we won't be.
I never said it, did I?
No, I'm just saying you don't have to. I want to read you your rights. I'm sure you know them. We're going to read them anyway, okay? And then we're gonna talk about that gun and the body we found, and everybody pretty much pointed the finger at you, just like didn't I tell you? That's what I told you.
And I figured they would.
We got the gun at your house that you live at. The witness statements are to a T, the evidence we have collected. So, I know that you had cousin John. I know what you did. And poor old cuz, poor thing didn't smart enough to get those clothes burnt before we found him. So, huh? So let's talk about it. So what why don't you tell me? Nothing. Never mind. Just why don't you tell me about what happened last night?
Well, I mean,
Hey, listen, man, everybody's done pointed the finger at you as being the one that pulled the trigger.
that's what I'm saying, dude, and I didn't.
Who pulled the trigger then?
Jonathan. The girl,
How can we prove that?
I could prove it.
How can you prove it?
Dude, look at my, okay.
Hey, because remember, hey, I'm serious now. We found a gun at your house.
And I understand
well,
that.
y'all live in a tent back behind the house.
I understand that.
I mean,
I understand that a lot.
Okay, so why don't you tell me
never
from
found that gun in my tent. I promise you didn't.
where you think I found it?
I know exactly where you found it, which is in the spot that Jonathan hid it.
Jonathan put it there? Seriously?
Yes.
Where did he put it? I'll tell you. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you.
In the back of the house, but underneath the house?
Yeah, that's it. And you saw him do it?
Yes.
As the questioning starts, Jose maintains a laid-back posture, and his body language is a bit puzzling. Despite facing serious charges, there is no sign of nervousness or fear. This could mean he's either oblivious about the evidence stacked against him, or he's well aware of the situation and is trying to put forward a confident front. Things take a turn when the detectives confirm that Jonathan had pointed the finger at him for shooting Ernie. At this moment, it becomes evident that he's already anticipated being accused. He explains to detectives that it was Jonathan who pulled the trigger, and that he has evidence to prove it. The detective doesn't really buy his side of the story, possibly because of his nonchalant behavior.
Okay. Hey, let's go through this. What I need to do, I've got Samantha's version.
Samantha is the ringleader. Samantha is the one, and I can prove this. If you don't believe me, as God is my witness, all you have to do, you can take you and 15 of the officers, I don't care. Take me in front of my wife, and my wife will tell you a piece of what she overheard.
Well, now, I've actually kind of heard.
And my wife will tell you, she's the one who orchestrated it.
Well, then you start from the very beginning, because you know I'm not crapping, you know I got you.
But that's what I'm saying. How is it you can sit here and tell me you got me when I'm not the one that did it, sir?
Well, because...
And I can prove it.
Well, I tell you what, you tell me from the very beginning what happened. And just give me your side of the story, and then we will talk about things, and I'll tell you why we did what we did, what was said. We'll talk about it. Because yeah, right now, oh yeah, you're the bad guy right now. But remember, I wouldn't go crap you out there in the hospital, man. I told you that's what was gonna.
Dude, I was in front of a lot of people, and then my wife's grandparents walked out that door like that.
Did they?
That's why I said what I said. Like, what are you talking about, dude? I did not want to know what I was involved with.
Well, don't sit here and try to think about it. You tell me the truth from the beginning to end. What happened?
At this part of the interrogation, it seems like Jose has a lot to reveal and explain. Among the 3 individuals arrested, it was only Jose Ponce who actually spilled a lot of information. Jose's claims shook the detective. If his claim of Samantha being the ringleader is true, it will add several layers of complexity and questions to this case. Was Jose telling the truth, or was he just trying to find a way to escape?
After 7, 8, somewhere like that, last night, when Jonathan took me home that afternoon, though, Octavius was home. Octavius ended up leaving with Jonathan. They left together. Me and my wife stayed at home. And I got many witnesses to prove that, because I sat at home and I cooked dinner all day. Enchiladas. And anyway, all of a sudden around after 7 or 8 at last night, they showed back up. This time they showed up with Octavius, Jonathan, Samantha, and her kids. They stayed at the house probably about an hour or 2. Well, Jonathan pulls me to the side. Say, cuz, I need to talk to you. I don't know what's up. He's like, look. Old girl, talking about Samantha. He said, Samantha, wants us to, do something. I said, wait. Samantha wants you to do something. What do you want me to do? Talking about him. He said, I just need your help. He said, it's a 3-man job. I said, okay, well, what is it? He said, look, I've already got, and I put this on my life, on my son's life. I've already got the layout of the whole house. The room is upstairs and this and that. And I said, okay. And he said, we're going to make it look like a home invasion. I said, okay, so what exactly is it, that the girl wants, right? And he wouldn't tell me full details until we went to the place.
It's common for someone in handcuffs to exhibit a restricted posture, yet Jose manages to convey a lot through his voice and expressions. As he narrates the sequence of events leading to their encounter with Samantha, he tries to highlight numerous details. This inclination implies that the suspect is eager to establish the sincerity and truthfulness of their account. Jose endeavors to clarify to the detectives that it was Jonathan who persuaded him to participate in the home invasion at Samantha's house. He adds that, despite his involvement in the plan, he was not entirely aware of what the exact plan was.
All of a sudden, he tells me, he said, look, I just need you to stand guard. He said, the way it's going to happen, he said, we're going to go in quietly. We're going to go upstairs. He said, whatever side of the bed she's laying on, Tay, which is Octavius Rhymes, is going to go around there. And I'm going to go.
Let me ask you something. See, that's where, for some reason, they're trying to protect Octavius. They're trying to say, I'm pretty sure, I'll have to look back on my reports, that it was somebody else there that wasn't Octavius. That's who I was thinking it was the whole time.
Oh, he was there.
Yeah. He lived there in Pittsburgh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So
it was y'all three? You,
yeah, it was
Octavius,
just
and Jonathan? Okay, go ahead.
And he said, okay. He said, well, like I said, he said, we're going to go upstairs. He said, whatever side she's laying on, Tay, which is Octavius Rhymes, he's going to go over there and he's standing. He said, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to stand by him. He said, all I need you to do is just stand guard and make sure that he doesn't try to grab a weapon or anything and try to use it. Well, he said, he said, we're going to, basically, he said, beat him up a little bit, whatever, tie him up. He said, and take him for a ride with us. I said, okay. All right. Well, all of a sudden, we stopped talking about it.
Where was y'all at? Were y'all talking about this again?
Outside of Octavius Rhymes' house, inside of Samantha's car.
Where does Octavius live at over there?
Where you found it at?
Oh, he lives there?
Yes.
He wasn't there when we went over a while ago and got the gun.
Was there a red car there?
Ah.
Yeah. What time is it right now?
It's 2:45.
Yeah. You ain't gonna probably catch him until go after 5 or 6. I told y'all. I wasn't lying to y'all this morning when I told y'all. He was with his mom. His mom had a doctor's appointment in Longview today. Or Tyler, one of the two.
Well, we found some of the clothes there at the house where he tried to burn them, and Jonathan was saying that you told Cuz, but it's Octavius, to burn them. And the clothes y'all was wearing. Because the clothes y'all was wearing, I don't think the match clothes in the video that night when y'all was at the hospital, from when we found you. But anyway, yeah, that's what I figured. I figured Octavius, that's going to be Octavius there. He's trying to protect Octavius.
Octavius is a military dude. It was him and Octavius' idea to burn everything.
Was it? Where'd they burn it at?
Right in the backyard.
Yeah.
Now tell me this. Did you ask him where the gloves came from? Because for some odd reason, we all three had the same pair of gloves.
You burned them too?
Yeah.
Jose attempts to cast himself as a passive figure in the incident, suggesting he was more of a witness or observer rather than an active participant in the abduction of Ernie from his home. Detectives, however, soon saw through this facade, prompting them to adopt a stricter and more direct approach.
I didn't. I never touched that door. I didn't even know the girl. I didn't even know where she lived or anything. You know, I didn't know what the hell I was walking into when I walked in the house. So that's why I was the third guy in.
So you just thought I was going to go in there and just slap him around a little bit because I was mad at him?
Yeah, because she's the one who told him, and I quote, he beats on the kids, he beats on me, and this and that, he treats me like shit, da da da. So Jonathan took that as in consideration to, like I said, I thought slap him around, beat him up. I was like, okay. I was like, so we get in. All of a sudden, we take the left. We go through I guess the dining room or whatever. And we take a right and go through the kitchen. Then take another right and then hit the stairs right there. Jonathan, the first one up. Before Jonathan went up, right by the bed. Right beside the bed on the floor, on the bed that he laid on, or the side that he was laying on the floor. Did you see a big old, did y'all see like a big claw hammer or something laying there?
I didn't, because I didn't go into work the crime scene. I was out chasing down Jonathan and finding him.
Okay, well, there was a big claw hammer that should have been found right there on the floor. It wasn't used or anything. It wasn't used. It was right there on the floor. It was not there to begin with. It was downstairs by the stairs. Jonathan picked it up, walks upstairs, the little spiral staircase. He goes up. All of a sudden, when he gets off the staircase onto the floor, he's bending down like this. Oh, he's bending down like this. Tay gets up, gets over the bottom. He's bending down like this. I'm still up on the top of the staircase, but not quite on the floor yet. But I'm right there, and he looks at me, goes like this. I walk up, I get up off the stairs and get up on the floor where he's at. And I bend down. And all of a sudden, we eased up over there. They realized who was laying where. Like I said, Octavius goes over there where she's at. He goes over here. I'm just standing guard. About this time, he puts the claw hammer down on the floor. He reaches over. And he yanks him out the bed. By that time, Octavius yanks her out the bed. Remind you, she's in on this whole thing the entire time. She knows about it. And I'll take a polygraph.
Would you?
What, to prove that she was in on it? Yeah.
Okay. We'll give you one. Heck yeah. Because that would help us prove that she did it, that she was in on it. Darn right.
And all of a sudden, he says, what the f***? He's wrestling, trying to get up off the floor real quick. By the time Jonathan reaches down, like I said, I'm just standing there watching, making sure, you know what I'm saying, he don't have no weapons or anything. But all of a sudden, he's sitting there, they're fighting. They're fighting hard. And then in her bedroom upstairs, like a big ass pit or something, like a hole. And he fell down off in there. Well, Jonathan got down off in there, and he stole off on Jonathan. That's how Jonathan got the scratches in his ears and everything over here. And all of a sudden, they're going at it. About that time, Jonathan pulls the pistol out. Jonathan pulls the pistol out, and he hits him with it.
Where'd Jonathan have the pistol at?
In his waistband.
Whose pistol is it?
Jonathan's.
Where'd he get
it? Beats me.
Okay, then what happened?
Like I said, he hits him with it. All of a sudden, I was like, man, what the hell? She's got kids here. I was like, look. So I ran over there and I grabbed him real quick. I said, hey, chill the hell out. I said, just calm down, dude. Stop, now. I'm good, man. I'm good. All of a sudden, he cocks it. Talking about Jonathan cocks the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Then, all of a sudden, He tells Tate, take her downstairs. So he took her downstairs.
Jose stands out in terms of expressiveness compared to many murder suspects. He vividly describes the events of the invasion night, detailing how they infiltrated the property and made their way to Ernie and Samantha's bedroom. According to Jose, the initial plan was to merely intimidate Ernie, but things spiraled out of control during the execution of this plan. Furthermore, Jose asserts that Samantha was fully aware of the unfolding situation, claiming that the front door was intentionally left open for their entry.
What was y'all wearing?
I was wearing black pants, my jacket, and gloves, and a bandana.
Where'd you have the bandana?
I had it wrapped around my
Oh, around your face. What did Jonathan, did he have anything on?
He had a hat, a black and gray or black and white bandana, had like skulls or something on it.
Did he have it around his face?
Yeah.
He's trying to tell me he didn't have nothing on.
He did when he went in, but when they started going at it, it came off.
Oh, okay.
He had a black jacket on.
Jose puts forth the assertion that Jonathan aimed to rescue Samantha from an abusive spouse, portraying himself as a sort of knight in shining armor. However, Jose's lack of a specific motive behind the plan suggests he merely followed Jonathan's lead without a clear agenda. The narrative takes a significant turn with the revelation that Ernie managed to remove Jonathan's mask during a scuffle, almost breaking free until Jose intervened by tripping him. It might have been at this point that Jonathan decided to kill Ernie as he had already seen his face. As for Samantha, Jose confirmed that she, seemingly complicit, played her part in this disturbing scenario. At this juncture, Jose's account began to align gradually with Jonathan's confession, except for the crucial detail of who was responsible for Ernie's death. The discrepancy in identifying the perpetrator adds a layer of complexity to their narrative. In the realm of suspects, there are those who may lack intelligence, and then there's Jose. Throughout the interrogation, he constantly contradicts himself. A great example is in this section. Initially, he states that Jonathan was carrying a 9mm revolver when they headed to Samantha's place. He even says that he wondered why someone would bring such a weapon if they didn't have a premeditated intention to kill. However, he paradoxically admits that despite being aware of this, he chose to accompany his friend. This admission effectively incriminates him, implying active participation in the home invasion and kidnapping. Jose's conflicting statements contribute to the complexity of the case and raise questions about his true level of involvement and understanding.
Back upstairs, I don't know if he tied her up or not. I do not know. I stayed downstairs the entire time.
But she whistled.
That means she was downstairs. Because like I said, me, Octavius, and
How'd she whistle? Was it like that or?
Yeah, like that. That's what I'm saying. She was downstairs. She had to be.
But you didn't see her?
No.
And so who went back in when she did it? Jonathan did.
And all of a sudden, Jonathan comes back out and says, "Come here, cuz I talk to you." So we walk over here. He's like, her mom just called, said she she's sending a friend over to see her or whatever, something like that. He's like, so she said, we got to go, we need to go now. I was like, so all right, well, fuck it, let's go. So we walked back over there. That's when we grabbed Miss Cabrera, take him to the passenger side of the car, put him in the back seat. I walked around to the driver's side, back seat, got in. Octavius got in the front. Jonathan got in the driver. We left.
Where was you?
I was in the back seat on the driver's side.
Okay.
And so we left. Still at this time, Jonathan's in possession of the gun.
Jose's claim is finally helping the detectives piece together the complex puzzle that they've been trying to assemble. Samantha instructing Jonathan to leave, citing her mother sending someone to check on her, remarkably corresponds with the actual incident. The logical deduction is that Jose is honest here. How else would he have acquired this information? Two pivotal questions arise at this juncture. What motivated Samantha to orchestrate this elaborate plan to murder Ernie, and who is the precise perpetrator of Ernie's murder?
I'm sitting there, I'm smoking a cigarette. I'm sitting there looking over at the dude. Not, you know what I'm saying, not even believing myself, you know what I'm saying, like, damn, this really just happened. And on the cool, I really felt like throwing up. I did. But I didn't though.
Okay, well, what happened when you left? Tell me that. Y'all are in the car.
We're in the car, we're driving. We get all the way out there to off of 557, I think. And in Pittsburgh, that is, by the way. Almost, I guess it's almost in Lone Star. Or, yeah, almost Lone Star. And we take a left on this side road. I don't know what the road number is, but I can take it to the spot. Well, I sat here for a minute. He drives down. Okay, finds a spot. Turns around, comes back. Finally finds one, pulls over to the side of the road. And next thing you know, we're sitting there for a minute. That's when Jonathan took his hat off, sat in the back seat, took his jacket off, sat in the back seat. That's when he had just a black tank top on. Next thing you know, we're walking. Mind you, I'm third person again in line. We're walking. All of a sudden, I noticed that we're by some water. Well, we cut up to the left and go through the woods a little bit. So, and a little ways back, all of a sudden, Jonathan shoves him down. He's laying on the side. Jonathan told him, lay there, don't move, just lay there. All of a sudden, Tay's looking at me, I'm looking at him. Jonathan looks back at us. Jonathan pulls it out, he's holding it. All of a sudden, I tell him, man, dude, you're too close, dude. You finna take the man's life, but you're too close to the road. Tay's looking, Tay's like, man, you really are. He said, that shit's gonna be loud. Octavius, by the way, that's who that was. Said, you really are, it's gonna be kind of loud, man. He was like, man, he's like, man. He's like, nah, we're all right. I said, bro, look, dude, your car right there. The road's right there. You just passed some houses, not even, a football field?
So what do you do?
All of a sudden, he looks at me, and we're looking back at each other. I said, bro, it's too close. He has it, he points it, and just, bah! Plus, Octavius and I had our flashlights. Now, after he shot him, he picked him up, like this, by the hair, looked at him, straight dome shot.
He said, what?
Jonathan said, straight dome shot.
What do you mean by that? A straight dome shot?
Straight head shot. Straight head shot. That's a wrap, cuz. And slam it.
To persuade detectives of his innocence, Jose has been relatively forthcoming with details, albeit amidst some contradictions that have been skillfully highlighted by the detectives. His primary motive in disclosing this information is to establish credibility and ensure they understand his perspective. Contrary to his initial claim that it was Jonathan who shot Ernie, the actual truth is that Jose was the one who pulled the trigger. Initially, Jonathan considered shooting Ernie, but later opted to slit his throat. In court, Jose eventually confessed that, deeming it safer, he seized the gun from Jonathan and fired the fatal shot at Ernie. This revelation adds a layer of complexity to the case, shedding light on the evolving dynamics and the intricacies of the individuals involved.
We're going to be, checking your phone records for the last few months. Anybody that's involved in this and not connected to your phone?
No.
Okay. You're sure about that?
Yeah.
Upon retrieving the phone from Samantha, it became evident that she orchestrated the entire plan. While emergency responders were at her residence, she continuously messaged Octavius, providing updates and directions to him to turn off Ernie's phone and discard it.
So the first one was at 2:30 a.m., comparing the time stamp on Durant's body-worn camera and her asking if she can call her mom or message her mom. At that moment, she sent Octavius Rhyme a text that said, to the general effect, "Kill Day's phone, shut that down." Day is a nickname that Ernie Ibarra went by.
Are they getting anything off his phone?
They're trying to right now, so.
But so far, nothing.
They haven't heard back yet.
Samantha was not only aware of Ernie's whereabouts, but actively involved in the unfolding events. Supported by the evidence and the consistent claims of the three men, who all pointed to Samantha as the mastermind, she was subsequently arrested. Samantha's aspiration to become an influencer contributed to a growing rift between her and Ernie. She perceived Ernie as neglectful in their relationship, while Ernie, in turn, felt unappreciated for his relentless efforts to sustain the family by working 2 jobs. The couple frequently fought, and Samantha, driven by her desire for influencer status, sought to eliminate the man who tirelessly worked to support their family.
His dad's not having a whole lot to do with this pregnancy, and that sucks.
I'm kind of screwed as far as dating goes because I date losers.
Samantha faced charges of aggravated kidnapping and murder. Initially, she denied any association with the three men involved, but her phone records presented during the trial contradicted her claims. As a result, Samantha was found guilty and handed a 50-year sentence for kidnapping and a 99-year sentence for murder. Octavius Rhymes received a 23-year sentence for kidnapping and a 75-year sentence for murder. Jonathan Sanford and Jose Ponce opted to plead guilty to charges of aggravated kidnapping and murder. Both were subsequently sentenced to 50 years for each charge, to be served concurrently. As we close this chapter, the stark reality of the human psyche unfolds, urging us to contemplate the fragility of trust and the profound repercussions when it crumbles. Samantha's calculated plans and Jose's revelations paint a chilling portrait of the dark complexities within seemingly ordinary lives, leaving us with a sobering reminder of the impact choices can have within the realm of justice and morality. How do seemingly ordinary lives become entangled in webs of crime and deception? The aftermath of this case invites us to reflect on the intricate balance between choices and consequences, prompting us to explore the shadowy corners of human behavior and the enduring implications when trust is betrayed. Tell us your opinions on this case, and if you want us to cover a specific case, mention it down below in the comment section. For more such content, like, share, and subscribe to our channel.